This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Well, greetings everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. The most shocking report was revealed at the beginning of June by a British paper. But it is so shocking that you might think the American public will come out of their lethargy, come out of their sleep, come out of their slumber, and wake up to what is really happening in this country, but I'm afraid that's not going to happen. I believe God has poured out a spirit of sleep and of slumber over the American people, and so they don't realize what is happening in their country and what is happening in the world, and that is no surprise, because God is not the God of this world. It is Satan, the devil, the one who has deceived the whole world. But here's this article by The Guardian, which stated this on June the 5th. The National Security Agency is currently collecting the telephone records of millions of U.S. customers of Verizon, one of America's largest telecom providers, under a top-secret court order issued in April. The order requires Verizon on an ongoing daily basis to give the NSA information on all telephone calls in its systems, both within the U.S. and between the U.S. and other countries. The document shows for the first time that under the Obama administration, the communication records of millions of U.S. citizens are being collected indiscriminately and in bulk, now notice carefully, regardless of whether they are suspected of any wrongdoing. Now, mind you, this is not talking about communist China. This is not talking about Russia. This is not talking about a dictatorship in South America. This is talking about the United States of America, the land of the brave and the free, the land which tells us that we have to see that privacy rights and democracy is to be established in all the world. Are you reminded of George Orwell, 1984? This is going far beyond it. Are you waking up as to what is happening? Do you realize that God is not happy about what's happening? Do you realize that when God talks in the Bible about the leadership of ancient Israel and Judah and the people, that he is not just talking about the situation there and then. He is talking about us today. And he says, no one is righteous, no, not one. They all are walking crooked paths. And the way of peace you don't find there. Now this article goes on to say, the unlimited nature of the records being handed over to the NSA is extremely unusual. Court orders typically direct the production of records pertaining to a secret or specified named target who is suspected of being an agent of a terrorist group or a foreign state or a finite set of individually named targets. The Guardian approached the National Security Agency, the White House, and the Department of Justice for comment in advance of publication on Wednesday, but all denied. Well, of course, all declined. Nobody wanted to say anything about it. It is not known whether Verizon is the only cell phone provider to be targeted with such an order, although previous reporting has suggested the NSA has collected cell records from all major mobile networks. Now, what about the press? What about the mainstream media? How come they didn't report anything about what is happening here in the United States? How come it had to be a British paper bringing the story? Well, here is something else, The Guardian says. The court order appears to explain the numerous cryptic public warnings by two U.S. senators about the scope of the Obama administration's surveillance activities. But these were not Republicans. For roughly 2 years, the two Democrats have been advising the public that the U.S. government is relying on secret legal interpretations to claim surveillance power so broad that the American public would be stunned to learn of the kind of domestic spying being conducted. Is the American public stunned? I'm afraid they are so asleep, so willingly and willfully ignorant that they don't care. Or if they are quote-unquote stunned, they think, oh well, if I just can do something to change the party in power and replace that party with another party, then everything will be fine. But it won't be fine. Because no matter who is in charge, who is in power, these systems have been ongoing and will continue to be implemented. Even if you ever find a righteous person being placed in the office of the president, even he wouldn't be able to change all the things going on under him. It's not possible because the system is not of God. You see, this world is not God's world. Breitbart wrote on June 6, if it's Thursday, there must be a new Obama scandal. But one thing is for sure, whatever that scandal is, you can bet the American mainstream media will be playing catch-up and not be carrying the glory of breaking a story about a major White House scandal. Fact, over the past few weeks, 4 major scandals have broken over the Obama administration. Well, I dare to say a lot more than that. And it's very sad and frightening that our pathetic American lapdog mainstream media is not responsible for breaking even a single one. Verizon? Nope. Not our guys. That was the Brits over there. That's the Guardian. IRS? Nope. Not our guys. The IRS broke their own scandal with a planted question. The Justice Department's seizure of Associated Press phone records? Nope. Not our guys. Believe it or not, the Associated Press didn't even break that story. Like the IRS, we only found out because the Justice Department outed itself in a letter notifying the AP of what it had done. Benghazi? Are you kidding? With a couple of rare exceptions, the media has spent the last 8 months attacking those seeking the truth. It was the GOP Congress that demanded the email exchanges around the shaping of the talking points, not the media. See, the media was trying to tell you what happened in Benghazi was in response to an anti-Mohammed video. Absolute, blatant lie. But that is what was expressed from the government, and that's what the media picked up. We know now it's all false. But this rumor is still floating around in the international press. I just was reading an article about it 2 days ago in a German magazine. They still planned and distribute that false statement. It goes on to say, left up to the media, we would not have known anything about Libya. All of the media's energy was collectively poured into ensuring the truth was never discovered. For over a year now, conservative Tea Party groups have been complaining about the IS harassment. But because Obama told them so, the media hates the Tea Party. So in the face of these complaints and even a few congressional inquiries, the media either ignored the harassment reports or openly sided with the IRS. That is what you can get when you listen to the mainstream media in the United States. It goes on to say our media is not only biased, it's an utter and complete failure and embarrassment. The media is already losing interest in the IS, in Libya, in the AP scandals, but for only one reason. They're absolutely terrified of where they might lead. And they're also intimidated. Because you see, if the Justice Department can do it with a Fox News reporter, and can do it with the Associated Press reporters, what else can they do? And talks behind closed doors are only raising the suspicion as to what kind of a bargain is going to be worked upon. Here's an article by the National Journal, dated June 6. Because if you think, oh, if you just change the party, if you just change the president, then everything will be fine, well, no, not so. Welcome to the era of Bush-Obama, a 16-year span of U.S. history that will be remembered for an unprecedented erosion of civil liberties and a disregard for transparency. It made little difference. Despite his clear and popular promises to the contrary, President Obama has not shifted the balance between security and freedom to a more natural state. If anything, things have gotten worse. And then this article talks about killing civilians and U.S. citizens via drone. It talks about seizing telephone records. It's the Associated Press in violation of Justice Department guidelines, and people are still talking about whether Mr. Holder should resign or not. It talks about accusing a respected Fox News reporter of engaging in conspiracy to commit treason for doing his job, even though no further action was ever taken against him. It talks about detaining terrorist suspects at Guantanamo Bay, despite promises to end an ill-conceived and considered Bush policy. It says even the IS scandal, while not a matter of foreign policy, strikes at the heart of growing concerns among Americans that their privacy is government's playpen. Yeah, but is it really a growing concern amongst American citizens? Most don't care, most don't know, most don't have any idea what's going on, and they don't even want to know. It's the proverbial bread and game philosophy of the old Roman Empire. As long as you give us some games to enjoy, and as long as we still have some bread to eat, we don't care what the government is doing. And so the government is trying to keep you happy that way. Of course, the problem is the economy in the United States is going downhill, and with the Obamacare coming into force and effect by 2014, it's going to go downhill even further. But you see, that's all part of what God has prophesied is going to happen, because we are living in such a terrible state of sin in this country. God has said, okay, enough is enough. You have been warned time and again. You're not willing to listen. You're not willing to change your ways. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah situation has come to the point where I'm not going to hold back any longer. Now, this article here in the National Journal goes on to say, and now this, the Guardian newspaper reports that the National Security Agency is collecting telephone records of tens of millions of customers of one of the nation's phone companies, Verizon. Several reasons are being given by this is chilling, and of course some of them we have already discussed. One of the things they say, though, is Congress is full of hypocrites. Liberals who criticize Bush are less incensed with Obama. Republicans who bowed to Bush are now blasting Obama. The next time your congressional representative criticizes Obama for curbing civil liberties, ask if he or she would vote to repeal the Patriot Act, the post-9/11 law that handed unfettered power to the intelligence and military bureaucracies. Most will not. The Bush-Obama White House hates transparency. President George Bush and his Vice President Dick Cheney were justifiably criticized by Democrats for their secrecy. Obama's promised that he would run history's most transparent administration by almost any measure on domestic as well as foreign policies. Obama has broken that promise. And then they say, chances are, you are one who is being spied upon as we speak. You who are listening. You who are watching this program. The article ends by saying, one thing we have learned about the Bush-Obama White House is that words don't matter. Watch what they do. Yeah, watch. We are standing watch to let you know what is going to happen in the near future. Because America is going to end up in a war which it will lose. Most people don't want to hear that. But God has prophesied it in your Bible. And some of the things we are talking about today are the reasons for it. There are many more reasons. What is happening right now and what I described in this program is sinful conduct of the government as well as the citizens endorsing it or being indifferent about it. God hates it. He hates the sins we commit. He will punish us severely for it. Are you waking up? Or are you going to be one of those who has to be punished severely so that you can wake up? I hope you're waking up before that happens. Thank you very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.